Oh, delegating, something that we all should be doing, but it's hard to get started, which I totally understand. I always make a joke that I wish I could just clone myself, like with all my knowledge and everything of how I like to do things, how I do things in general, things that I know how to do, so I wouldn't have to find somebody else. But until we get that technology, that simply cannot happen. So, here are some tips that I have to start to delegate, and that actually starts with letting some things go. So, the first thing I would like you to do is, if you're watching this and you have some time to work on this, take out a piece of paper or a notepad on your computer, whichever you prefer, and start writing everything that you did not want to do this week but you had to do. Was that checking your email? Was that inbox management? Was that calendar management? Was that rescheduling something with someone? Was that some copywriting that you had to do? Start writing everything that you didn't want to do but you had to do to move your business forward. Great. That is going to be your list to look for someone to delegate to. So, where to start off with there is try to start off with things that is something you don't necessarily have to train someone to do, because as much as there's a lot of inbox management specialists out there, inbox management is a very personal thing for a lot of people, so there's a lot more curve in training somebody for that. But if it's more like, hey, you can subcontract out some copywriting and you already have the brand voice and messaging for that client you're working on, you can probably just hand that off straight to a copywriter. There's going to be a learning curve there too, but it won't be as much as trying to just literally give off something. Maybe you need somebody to review copy instead. Maybe you do like writing copy, but you want somebody to do some proofreading for grammar or whatnot. That's also an easier one to delegate. So try to figure out what you need to delegate from that list that I had you create, but also then go from there, pick the ones that are easier to hire for, because that will give you more of motivation to actually hire somebody for it. Because I know when I'm working with people and I help people build teams, I help people learn how to delegate. If you need any help with that, just let me know. But I know one of the big bottlenecks or hangups is now I have to teach someone how to do something. Like, that's more work, you know? And it could be very, very frustrating for somebody who really, truly needs to delegate, but they don't have time to delegate and teach the work. Now, if you're in a tough spot, one of my favorite ways to delegate while teaching is Loom. I'm not a fan of meetings. If I can avoid them, that's even better. There's only certain meetings I love having, but I have plenty of people that I've worked with, people on my team currently that I haven't had a meeting with in a very long time, because we communicate through asynchronous methods, which I love, which is mostly Slack, Boxer, or Loom. And now how I do that is, normally when there's a project that I need help with and I need delegation to do, is I will do one part of it, because most of the time it's a repetitive thing and repetitive things are great to delegate, is I will do the first thing to do and record myself and send it. And they have a how-to. Bonus points if they can also create you an SOP or how to out of it, so you guys have that documented. But then they can go and take off the rest of it and just do the rest. And you did get one thing done on your to-do list, but you actually got two things done because you delegated something. So Loom is one of my favorite ways to do that. It can transcribe for you. They're coming up with great AI features too, with other things that help you, like chapters and whatnot. But Loom is probably one of the best things I tend to recommend people when they're trying to train/teach and delegate at the same time without wasting more money or energy. Especially for my entrepreneur who are introverts, you may not want to be on a meeting every 5 seconds. So a Loom is a really nice way to just get the information across. If there's any questions, they can ask questions directly on the Loom. But that is probably one of my favorite ways to do it. It's fast, it's quick and dirty sometimes, which is fine. You can put a disclaimer in front of it saying that you're probably gonna babble. I do that as well. They know that whatever time they spend watching it, whatever time I spend to record it, it's billable to them, and that's totally fine, because in the long run, I'm investing in them taking over the project completely. So even though you're putting in some extra time now, creating those videos or even audios or whatnot to create those how-to guides, that's going to be a little extra work for whoever's taking it over. But in the long run, it's something that you can just give off and you're done with it. Every quarter or so, you can review the process if it's something that is repetitive and ongoing. but it's a quick way to get from that list that I mentioned to whoever you're delegating it to. So let me recap a little bit here. 1, make a list of all the things you've done, at least in this past week, that you didn't like to do, but you know you had to do to move the business forward. 2, see from that list who you can hire that will be able to take things off your list without training or with little training. And 3, for anything that you do need to train, utilize something like Loom so you can send it to them without having to schedule times and go back and forth. Show them how to do it so they can take over the rest of it. So that is my tips for delegating. And if you have any questions or concerns or any feelings about delegating, please comment below. I love helping people learn how to delegate.